Hey guys, I want to welcome you and let you know how great it is to have you here for the Greater Purpose Podcast.
What's up? That's good.
Welcome to the Greater Purpose Podcast. And now you hear the cheering crowd in the background, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Sounds like when I get home at night, the cheering family. Yeah.
The red carpet.
Right. Very similar, minus the Cubs memorabilia.
That's right. Well, that's the most exciting thing here. Right?
Very exciting. Very exciting.
So we're glad to have you guys here, and our guest, Jason Williams. We're going to introduce him in just a second. But I got to do some due diligence because I always forget stuff. Besides introducing the podcast and asking you to subscribe to @The Greater Purpose. Thank you for subscribing as well. We have a whopping 56 subscribers, but we have a lot more viewers than that. Had a couple people over the weekend tell me that they were watching the podcast. We've got some ladies out there watching. So this is great. So hopefully you'll encourage your husbands after you've watched all this stuff. But anyway, and if my producer was here, which he's not, no producer, here's the producer's chair. Right here, folks. Do you see Stephen Wright? Do you see Stephen Wright in this chair?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't see.
Thank you. All right. Stephen Wright is not here. He's off to Brazil or something. I don't know what it is. But anyway, he has told me to make sure that we advertise the website. So don't forget to go to the website, check us out, all that good stuff. Anyway, Jason Williams.
Hey.
Glad to have you here. Glad you can make it.
Appreciate the invitation. Thanks for letting me in.
So tell us who you are, Jason Williams. Tell them who you are. I know who you are.
Yeah. I'm Jason Williams. I'm a lifetime.
Thank you so much. This is a great show. I know.
I kind of feel like that kind of ends it. I mean,
that's it. What else do we got to say, right?
It's downhill from there. I hate to disappoint your 56 subscribers.
I know, right? Yeah.
Lifelong resident of Gaston County, former county commissioner. Been married for over 20 years to my wife Shannon. We've got 6 wonderful kids, and most people probably know me from my position with the Faith and Freedom Coalition. So I'm the director of the North Carolina Faith and Freedom Coalition. We founded the group in 2019, and God's been blessing it ever since.
Yep, awesome. The Salt and Light Conference is and we'll talk about that later on.
Sure.
But in the promo, by the way, that's what I was going to say too. You have to watch the promo. The information in the promo is not, the content in the promo is not the same as the content in the podcast. So you're going to get something different there than what you're getting here. So make sure you go to the promo if you haven't already done that, because we'll talk a little bit about Salt and Light. But speaking of that, director, what is Paul's title?
So Paul's an ambassador for the organization. Yeah,
so we've had the director and the ambassador here now.
Paul's somebody who needs a fancy title.
Okay.
He's a fancy guy. He dresses nice. He's got to have a nice title. He just can't be a director. He's got to be an ambassador or something big.
Yeah.
So,
funny thing about his podcast was I think he didn't realize he was one of the first ones. I don't think he realized it was video podcast. I think he was thinking it was audio, and he got in here and go, whoa, this is video. So he was just dressed down. He was not all dressed out like you're talking about.
I'm sure he was torn up by
He was.
Oh, yeah, I bet he was.
He said, I got to come back. No.
I bet he was. He sleeps in a nice suit. So, if he was dressed down, I'm sure that still bothers him to this day.
That's great. Yeah, somebody made a joke about, I think, either Brad Overcash or Craig Collins, one of those two guys, that their casual clothes was a bow tie and something, whatever. So, but anyway, so, all right. So we know who you are.
Okay.
So let's talk about what has motivated and inspired you over the years. So, what would you say, like thinking back, childhood, high school days, which was a couple weeks ago, something like that.
Yeah, a lot of gray in the beard now, so it's a lot different. Yeah.
What over all that time? When do you first recognize I need to be attempting to follow Christ and become a godly man?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, for me, I grew up in a single parent home with my mom. My dad never lived with us. He lived in Knoxville, Tennessee. And so I never really had an influence growing up. I got saved at 12 at a youth camp in West Jefferson, North Carolina. And so really didn't have the influence at home. So I got saved and started realizing what it was to become a godly teenager, and really the difference in a good teenager and a godly teenager. the Boy Scouts turn out, good kids,
Right.
but there's a difference in good kids and godly kids. And I wanted to be somebody who was godly,
Amen.
more than just simply good. And
Awesome.
and not to disparage that, but there's a difference.
Right. There is.
But it was really, in 2005, when I had my first kid, Philip. We've got 6 kids, 3 boys and 3 girls,
Wow.
and Philip's my oldest, just turned 18. And so when I had him, you realize that you're no longer, living for yourself.
Yeah.
You're now responsible for somebody else.
Right.
And the more kids we had, the more that really sets in. So, not having that example when I grew up, I realized, I wanted to be that example
There you go.
for them.
Yeah.
And so, in a weird way, it was probably my own dad who inspired me to do that, because I wanted to give them something that I didn't have.
Right.
And most importantly, not just wanted to, but as a Christian, I'm obligated. We're obligated to raise our kids up
Yep.
in the direction they will go.
You
And
read that
so-
word, didn't you?
What's that?
You read that word.
That's
That
it.
word is in there. Yeah.
That's the word.
Absolutely. Yep.
And so that was probably the biggest inspiration. And when it became real, I mean, I think you always know that you should be.
Yeah.
As a Christian, you should be
Sure.
godly and should follow Christ. But when it gets real for you is when you're no longer just responsible for yourself,
Sure.
but for somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had that a couple times, either marriage or having kids or adopting children or whatever, that kind of thing, where
Yeah.
people have been inspired that they
big
know
deal.
it's time to start stepping up, manning up, right? That's
Man
what we
up.
call it. Yeah.
Man
So
up.
through all that time, now you said your dad as an inspiration, but if you want to expand on that, or is there somebody else that was maybe more of an inspiration or a greater or bigger inspiration as far as becoming a godly man?
I would say somebody who showed me how to do it right was a buddy of mine named Jesse Haley. And Jesse, he was actually preaching the night that I got saved. It was August the 8th, 1995. And he had answered the call to preach that night, actually that
Oh,
night.
wow.
And so the moderator of the camp told him to come up and preach.
Cool.
And I didn't really know him. He was 19, I was 12. And we came back to Gaston County. He lived here, and there were a couple churches from Gaston County that was up there. And so came back, and he just kind of became my best friend. He took me under his wing and was really my mentor growing up.
Mhm.
And again, he was just a young guy himself.
Yeah.
He was 19. He got married a couple years after that. And it was really just watching him, be the husband that he was, the way he loved his wife, and as they had kids, to watch him parent. And it wasn't anything that he sat down and said, these are the things you should do, but just watching the way he did things,
Yeah.
and watching his home life and seeing how
Modeled
sweet
it,
it was
yeah.
and how great it was. That was probably by far the biggest influence on me, is him showing me by example how to do it right.
Well, see, and that touches on something that we talked about a lot in the podcast, when we talk about in the men's ministries, and you talked about at Salt and Light, is if somebody else has to answer that call, because that call that they are answering is going to influence someone else and
right.
inspire somebody else. And I don't think
Absolutely.
I think sometimes we miss that. So I was trying to remember Tony Evans this morning on the way. He was talking about that, not just in general, not specifically, but your calling is not necessarily what you think you want to do. Your calling is from God.
That's right.
And so we've got to follow that calling. So that's cool that
Amen.
he followed
Amen.
his, and that had you follow yours.
That's
That's
right.
great. That's pretty awesome.
That's
so
amazing.
So we know about Salt and Light, and I'm sure that you are effective through the conferences and through the speakers and through the events that you guys do and all that kind of stuff. But what about how do you feel like on a personal level you're most effective at affecting other men's lives, other boys' lives into becoming godly men?
Yeah, well, I appreciate your proper usage of the words effect and affect there. That was impressive. Bill. That's
I had
nice.
to back up. You did notice I stumbled.
Yeah,
didn't I?
that's impressive. Way to go. So anyway, I would say that same thing. I try to live by example, and I want to model that life for other people, like he did for me.
Mhm.
I want to, with younger people coming up, seeing, the way that I live. I want to live a life of character.
Yeah.
Somebody that treats people right, treats my family right, my wife. So I want to do that. Live by example.
Mhm.
I pour into my kids.
Right.
I think that's the biblical model. I think that we raise them up and send them out. And so I want to teach my kids how to do that and pour into them every day. And then there's a number of people who are interested in going into the industry that I work in, and just try to bring them in, because, in the political world, believe it or not everybody's of high character. Not everybody's honest.
No.
I hate to pull the curtain back, but it exists. It
no!
exists.
You just told everybody what's happening. No,
Yeah. We may have to edit that out because that's I don't know if they can handle it. But that's a real thing.
Yeah, it is.
But there are some good people.
There are a lot.
There's a lot of good people that are in this industry and are in it for the right reasons and want to make a difference. And in trying to work with people trying to get into it, and in connecting them with others who share our worldview and really are in this for the right reason.
Yep. Yeah, that's cool. And what you don't know that I noticed about you over the time that I've known you is watching you at the polls. You arrived to say hi to everybody and to greet everybody that was working the polls. And you had a spiritual discussion right there in the group, which is very interesting. So I thought that was pretty cool because a lot of people don't realize this, and I'm big on this. I'm so tired of us as the church. Yes, the church sitting back and moaning and groaning about everything that's happening and not stepping up and doing something about it. And my belief is that politically we've got to be active. If we're not, and that means more than just going and filling in a circle.
That's right.
And that's what you do. That's what so many of these other people like you're talking about that they do. But I noticed that, and I thought that was pretty cool to sit there and have a spiritual discussion at the polls. Was pretty interesting, So
well, I don't think you compartmentalize your Christianity. I think you kind of are who you are, and for me, I feel a passion. Of course, I thought I had a passion until I saw your passion for the Cubs. I don't know that I care about anything as much as you care about the Chicago Cubs.
No.
But anyway,
appearances only.
I have a passion for what I do. I don't think that everybody has to be engaged to the level that I am. Matter of fact, I don't think they should be.
Right.
I think we have a different call, but I think you should be engaged at some level. I think you should be involved. I think it would be foolish to think that God wants us to be involved in all these other elements of our life, except for the political world. And I think what's important to know is, there's three institutions that God ordained: the family, the church, and government.
Yeah. And
we would never say that we shouldn't be involved in family or the church.
Right.
But yet, for whatever reason, the government part's become taboo to a lot of people, and it simply shouldn't be.
Yeah,
but you shouldn't be just consumed by the political arena, and I think to have people that are working in the arena, helping others to get involved at some level and be engaged in their community is important. So
well, it can be as simple as encouraging people that are running for office or speaking up and speaking out just on a regular basis. Those things are all important.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm talking about. I'm not, like you said, I'm not talking about diving in. So, but
we've not. A lot of people think that we've lost our voice or they've taken it away. But as Christians, we've put down the microphone. We didn't have it taken from us.
Exactly.
We've just stopped speaking out, and so that's why I'm grateful for you and even your podcast. I know it's not a political podcast, but just to
not
address,
usually, but we go sideways, but it's okay.
But I think from a biblical perspective, it's not political. I think from a biblical perspective to again not compartmentalize your Christianity, but to deal with the issues that were important and were important to Jesus.
Yeah.
And biblical issues, and those are the things we should be engaged in. And I'm grateful for you because, truthfully, Ronald Reagan even said that all real change starts at the dinner table, and you don't do that really without a godly man at the head of the table. And so that's why I think what you're doing is so important. And we've got women that are watching that have had to step in, but truthfully, that's not God's plan. God's plan is for us to have a mom and a dad and the kids, and for whatever reason, sometimes that's not the case, and sometimes it's beyond anybody's control. But I think what Reagan said is right. That's where the real change begins.
Yeah. Men leading. Right.
Men leading.
Absolutely
that's right.
Right. So, all right. So, we already covered the inspirational person. So let's go into. Oh, we're already at the 5 faves already.
Okay.
How did we get to that so fast? Maybe we did. How about that?
I thought we were taking too much time.
Yeah, no, we're doing good. We're doing good. That's great. So, all right. So, my lovely and awesome wife Donna has watched all of the podcasts, and she has interjected and given me some sage advice, as she always does. I said no and walked away at first. No, I don't think I did that, but maybe I did. I'm not going to lie.
You're sitting here, so I'm sure you did.
Right. So, but it was really good advice. So we were calling this the Fast Five, and she said, I think it'd be better if, like the guests have been doing, do expand a little bit on some of the topical things we've given them. So we're not calling it the Fast Five anymore. We're calling it the 5 faves, but I need to say favorites because I said it too fast on the last podcast. and she didn't understand what I said. So 5 favorites, baby. Got it? Okay. So the 5 faves. So you picked your 5 faves were what were they?
Heroes of the Faith.
Heroes of the Faith. So
Yes.
give us you can either give them to us, just spit them out, or you can give us why on each one, or you can do a synopsis, however you want to do it.
Well, I'll be quick. I mean, one of them, John the Baptist. John the Baptist is one of my favorite characters in the Bible.
That's good.
You know, he was very unorthodox, a very different guy.
Yeah.
But to know that he's the person who baptized Christ and knew, he said, "Behold the Lamb of God, which taketh away the sin of the world."
Yeah.
Yet a couple of chapters later, he's sitting in a jail and he's doubting whether God's even the right one. Well, he sent the people back and said, "Hey, we asked Jesus, is he even the one, or should we wait on another one?" And to have somebody who experienced God at that level still have that doubt and go through the difficult times, and then when Jesus sent back and said, "You tell them that the blind can see, the deaf can hear, and the poor have had the gospel preached to them," he then stopped them and said, "Oh, by the way, there's never been any man born of woman that's greater than John the Baptist." And you just think about that. Like, that's helped me so much that somebody who's been at the top, who's experienced God, who baptized our Lord and Savior, still have doubt and go through those difficult times. And Jesus still to say afterwards, he's still the greatest. So that's been an encouraging story for me. So John the Baptist,
Nice. That's good.
the Apostle Paul, who obviously we could talk forever about him, but the fact that he went through so much and had so many issues, and then in 2 Timothy still put, I fought a good fight, kept the faith, finished my course. That's just so
encouraging, and
my
inspiring,
goodness. Yeah,
sure.
those are his last words, that despite all of it, it was still worth it to him, knowing he was about to go be killed. I think about somebody like Sammy Allen, who was a preacher, who he started Faith Baptist Camp down in Resaca, Georgia. His preaching ministry just helped me so much. Really helped me in just staying focused on what was important. Preacher, Phil Kidd, growing up, he was, we've disagreed throughout the years on some stuff, but honestly, his preaching style, very aggressive, and it's what I needed when I was younger. I was that kind of guy, and it challenged me in a way that I really needed. And I would have to say Jesse Haley, who just invested in my life, and he comes to Salt Night every year, so you can meet him.
Nice, cool.
This year, but he invested in me, and I wouldn't be here without him.
Nice, cool. That was good. All right. So Paul did all of those, right?
I did, but it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. He's that good.
Crazy.
He's that good.
Oh, boom, 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 and he rattled them.
Of course he did.
Well, I can't see. This is what I tell people. I do send a format to whoever's going to be here as a guest, because I feel like I need to be prepared if I'm going to come into a situation like this. So I don't want to come in blind. So I don't know if everybody needs that like I do, but I guess it makes me feel better. So there you go. Well, that's cool. So before we go on to the sports related story, which you have to give us before you leave, it is required. First, we're going to present you with your parting gifts because. So one of your awesome, wonderful parting gifts is the bottle of hand sanitizer from Mr. Bill's STEM Education. Let's hear the cheering crowd again for that. Isn't it? Yeah, isn't it?
Loud, just as loud as last time.
I know you need hand sanitizer, so that's yours. Please take that home.
I feel like I've not made it yet until I have my name on hand sanitizer. So
Mr. Bill's STEM and Bill Ward
and the signature.
Yeah, we got it all.
Yeah.
And you also will receive. Before you leave, I will sign this one of a kind Willie Ace. I will autograph. You'll be number 18, I believe. Number 18. He said I needed to start numbering. My producer tells me stuff to do, but then he doesn't show up. Willie Ace, official Willie Ace baseball card. By the way, Willie Ace is always here hanging out with us. So he's one of these days I'm going to tell the story behind the Willie Ace name. You notice who that looks like?
I didn't, but I noticed there's not a Jason Williams bobblehead right there with
Where
it.
is it?
So,
Do you have one?
Well, yeah. Do you not remember? They did a Jason Williams bobblehead night at the Gastonia Grizzlies.
No,
several years back. They did.
Really?
First 500 people got one.
You have to come back.
I don't have a cool jersey on like this though. So I appreciate the
that, and I'll
one of a kind of 18.
You like that? I'll autograph that before you leave, and you get to choose a Lego superhero, and you say why a Lego superhero. Well, Mr. Bill's STEM is science, technology, engineering, and we build Legos robots. So we thought it'd be a cute little tie-on to let you tie in, gimmick, whatever you want to call it. This was the part my wife didn't like that I said we can't get rid of. So you get to choose from the Joker. Wow, I didn't know the Joker was in there. You better not want Deadpool. Who's this? I don't know who that is. Oh, that's Ant-Man. Oh, wow, cool. There's Doctor Strange. You can pick, Captain America with the beard, when he had the beard. Thor, Flash. Oh, wait, no, you can't have Flash. He's already promised to one of my guests because he wasn't here. I don't know who that is. And there's Spider-Man. Which one?
Well, if Captain America's got the beard, I've got to take that one,
Okay,
right?
cool.
I mean,
Where did he go? Okay, yep, there he is.
Yeah.
So what we were talking about beforehand was that Ray Hardy actually built his, and we used that as a promo. So that was kind of cool. So those are your parting gifts. Now, this is not a parting gift, but I just wanted to show you something special that I have in my collection, which you've probably ever seen before. I'm pretty sure you've never seen, because I know you're a big wrestling fan.
I am a wrestling fan.
So we got to get Lieutenant Governor Robinson to come and autograph this.
We can do it. We'll make it happen.
You're right.
We'll make it happen.
He's got to come to the Cubs room, right? So I just thought you would appreciate
I would love to see Mark come up.
If Craig Collins will ever come, I'll let him see it.
Okay.
But he doesn't.
That's a pretty cool. Yeah, I love it.
Have you ever seen one of those? So cool. All right. So your sports related story. Tell us.
Well, I had it narrowed down to like 4. I mean, I'm a big sports fan, and I've got so many stories that I would love to tell.
Yeah.
So I've narrowed
How many are you going to tell?
Well, I've narrowed it down to just 5.
Okay.
I was like, no. So, I had one in mind, but I'm gonna call an audible here because of your mask.
All right.
So,
okay. Oh yeah. Okay.
So I was I'm just switching it up on the spot.
All right.
So
that's happened before, by the way. It happens in this room. It's like magical.
Well, I was going to an event in Kings Mountain. It was when Mike Huckabee was running for president.
Cool.
And so it was back in 2008, I guess. And so he did a fundraiser in Kings Mountain. They did an event out there. And I was a huge supporter of Mike Huckabee. And matter of fact, Huckabee will be with us at the Salt Lake Conference this year.
Oh, nice.
But I was a big fan, big supporter. So I went to this event. And I had my niece with me, Whitney, and my pastor was also with me. And we were running late. And so we were kind of swerving to try to find a parking place. And I couldn't figure out where to go. And it was packed. So I come around the corner, and this guy's walking by, and I slam on my brakes. I mean, I literally come up right to him, about to hit him, because I'm just trying to find a parking place, and I'm wanting to get in there to hear Governor Huckabee. And I slam on my brakes, and my niece, she's in the back seat, and she leans out, and she starts screaming, like, "Get out of the way, you idiot!"
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness. And so my pastor at the time looked, and he was like, "Oh, no." And so I immediately put it in park. I get out of the car. I walked up, and I said, "I am so sorry, Mr. Flair."
No way.
It was 17-time world champion, the nature boy, Ric Flair.
Wow.
And my idiot niece is back there calling him, telling him to get out of the way, you idiot.
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah, that's pretty scary.
Oh, my goodness. So
he was okay, though. He was.
Unfortunately, I barely missed him, and I got out. I apologized. Yeah. He accepted. He was a big Huckabee fan as well.
Oh, gotcha.
He was there for his event.
Cool. Yeah.
But literally, my political future would have been ended.
Yeah.
Back in 2000. Yeah. Had I run over
you ran over Ric Flair and he pounded you into the ground.
It would have. Well, it would have either been over that way, or if I would have hurt him. There's no way you could ever show your face.
That's cool. Yeah.
If you did any harm to the nature boys.
So tie into the wrestling. See,
tie into the wrestling.
That was good.
That's right.
That worked out well. So cool. Well, listen, Jason, I really appreciate you being here. Thanks for all you do for all your godly men examples. Thank you for all your work.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the Greater Purpose on YouTube. Thanks a lot. God bless and goodbye.